Welcome to the Own Your Best Life podcast. I'm May Emson, your host, leadership and mindset coach. Here, we talk all things spiritual, mindset, business, leadership, and wellness for the modern seeker who wants to align their life with purpose and inspiration. We'll cover career changes, stress management, meditation, energy, intuition, and more. Each episode holds spiritual and practical tools to help you live a life of your wildest dreams without getting burnt out along the way. Ready to live a life on your own terms? This is the Own Your Best Life podcast. Welcome, friends, to episode number 144 of the Own Your Best Life podcast. There is a myth about being your own person that I want to bust. We often think that to be ourselves means to rebel and to fight against others. It means that we think we won't be the partners or the team players that contribute to making the world a better place. It is not true. And today's podcast on being your own person is going to be the seismic shift that you need to change the course of your life. So let's be real. Being your own person sounds great, but it is hard to put into practice. As soon as we start to resent people, we want to be our own person. And as soon as you are your own person, you want to be with others to share all the goodness. So why is it so difficult to find that balance of being yourself without others' influence and being someone who is connected and willingly influenced by others in the most positive of ways? And we might have had these moments in our lives where we felt so stuck with others. Maybe it was in your childhood or even as you raise a family or work with other people. All you wanted was your own space and sandbox to do what you want the way you want to do it. And such a sense of freedom can come from this practice of having space for yourself. Yet we often do this in a way that feels antagonistic. We yell, we get angry when we don't get that space, or we get passive aggressive. We think we should have had it by now, and we wonder why everyone else doesn't get it. Can't they see that you need some time alone to be by yourself, to figure something out? Can't they see that it's hard enough to live this life, let alone perform at the level that you are asking yourself to perform at, and that you need some space? And we all know the answer. No, they don't. They don't see that. And if they did, they would have given it to you. So the illusion of having what we want is that we think it comes just from people knowing and that it should come that way. They should just know. When in reality, being your own person isn't about making your own decisions about everything that happens. It's about learning that when life feels overwhelming and uncertain, that you know you will figure it out and that you have the resources to handle even this. Being your own person becomes more about building resiliency, not just space. And the reason this is important is because building resilience in terms of our energetic capacity to handle life's demand is what will give you the strength, the courage, and the confidence to think differently, to feel differently, to say what needs to be said. We don't become our own person by buying a plot of land where people can't bother us, although I'm sure you've all wondered if that was the answer. We become our own person by being in life with others and still finding strength to work through the challenges and feel that we accept what is happening and we are intelligently working through the process of whatever is coming up for you in that moment in the best way you know how. And I get the feeling of wanting to just have an independent life and mind, especially when you feel that other people are the reason you have that low energy or you feel stuck. And I remember being in a role where I felt people were overly demanding. And now I can see that if I were my own person, I wouldn't have changed them, but I would have been more accepting of them. By doing that, by accepting them as they are, I wouldn't have made it all so personal. And being my own person means that I see them as them and me as me. You know you're not your own person when you see everyone else as you. Everything they do affects you. But when you're your own person, not everything everyone does affects you as much. And not everything was just about me and what I was doing. If I was able to actually see them as an archetype, as a kind of person, then I would have saw that this person had a lot of their own things going on, and that's how it came out in these higher stress situations. But without knowing myself, I made it mean that I needed to fix it and them and just do whatever needed to be done to make them happy. And I literally remember thinking that it was a great goal to just make my boss happy. And this wasn't my boss, by the way, in case you were wondering. It was someone else I worked with. But I remember thinking at one point that making my boss happy was such an altruistic thing. What could go wrong? Well, so many things could go wrong. My goal and your goal is likely not to make people happy. And I would encourage you to see that for yourself if you don't see that today. My goal could have been to do the best work I could and deliver results. That makes the most sense, doesn't it? That isn't about me fixating on another person. That kind of goal is a goal that someone who is their own person would have. So if you're your own person, many of your goals don't revolve around other people just being happy. You are looking at other things, such as the best work, what is for the highest good of all. Why? Because it's about an outcome and a process that is not fixated on someone else and is actually more within your control. The reality is that it is less about others and it's more about yourself. It's more about how you can contribute in a constantly changing world. And when you're your own person, it almost doesn't matter who is with you. You do you. Of course, you adjust your style to help influence others, to communicate to them in a way that they can understand best. But that isn't changing your message or the outcome that is for the highest good for all. You're just altering the way you do what you do to be more effective. And all of us can be our own person without being mean or rude or rebelling against everything that you know. You can be your own person and be thoughtful, be curious, and be open-minded. You are determined to succeed using what you have at your disposal. And whether it is the time you have because you're working another job, or the money you have, or the place you live, or the socioeconomic and racial structures that you were born into, you can be your own person. You can take one thing that you have uncertainty about and work to resolve it in the best way possible. Deliver results in the best way you can do with what you have. I had a client who felt like she didn't know how to be her own person. So much so that she was so successful in her career because of her ability to seamlessly understand what needed to be done and solve for it ahead of time. And it wasn't that she wasn't her own person, though. She felt that she wasn't living to her potential because she was so caring about others. Yet her superpower is unique, and we just made one tweak to it that let her feel so much more engaged with who she was becoming as she witnessed who she actually was all along, and how that giving and loving nature of hers wasn't wrong, even if she got bored eventually from what she was doing. So I want you to hear that the reason I want to bust that myth that being your own person means you're just ruthless and so uncaring about others, and if you're caring, then you're not your own person. There is a different way to think about it, and it is a way that would allow you to still be a caring and loving person without being someone that doesn't know where you begin and someone else ends. And this work isn't always comfortable. It isn't always easy because you tend to do a lot of comparing. When you think about how to be more authentic or more unique, it's like this paradox, because by looking at others to figure out how to be different, You're essentially becoming a version of yourself that is a response to other people. So a simpler way to think about it is to just do what you think makes the most sense and check for your own biases along the way. What I'm saying sounds simplistic because we overly complicate living our lives. And we could spend so much more of our energetic capacity actually tending to the things that actually need to be solved versus the many things in our minds that we think need to be solved when they actually don't. And this whole illusion of separation that we are this person, they're this person, and I need to be different, and I'm now my own unique person, because when I wasn't, I was just enmeshed into someone else and I couldn't separate myself. That's what we're trying to do, is break apart this polar opposite thinking and come to a healthy middle ground. And when you do what makes the most sense, you are taking all the wisdom and all the experience you have gained and learned and do life in a way that makes sense to you. You do have to, at some point, engage with other people. But if you're questioning your own biases and your own patterns, you'll be much more likely to overcome objections by others. And this is why being your own person and having authenticity starts so much more with self-awareness. When you know you're your own person, you have a high level of self-awareness. It is becoming more you, while you're improving on the places where you know that you can make some tweaks to help your life feel so much more authentic. And there will be many places in your life where you don't even realize that you're uncertain. And because of that, you might default to some old patterns, some automatic behaviors, or you might delegate your decisions to others who seem to know more than you. And even as a coach, I will ask you to work on your own decision-making process. Of course, there are simple things you can do that I will tell you because of my experience and what I've learned. But you will also learn so much more about yourself in the process of being coached as you learn how you operate. You learn what it's like to be you. Maybe it's taken decades for you to learn that, but I think that that's some of the most beautiful and rich experiences about growing older. And I admire those people who seem so comfortable with their own skin and the way they show up. And often it comes with more extremes in ages. I encourage you to notice all the inspiration of people around you who are already showing up in their uniqueness, not even trying to be unique, and love them. Love all these people, because what you love in them will then be reflected in you. I'd also invite you to join us if you'd like to cultivate more certainty about yourself and how you can be your own person, even if you have others around you in your life. It is where your own confidence will grow and you become even more empowered to show up authentically and with more ease when you have more examples in your life of what it looks like. When I say join us, I mean this community of spiritual achievers. It is an energy that you can embody yourself. And when you do that, you will notice yourself changing in all the ways you know to be even more true to yourself, doing the work you most want to do, leading the way you believe is sustainable, and living a healthy and wealthy life that you've designed for yourself. So our next round of Spiritual Achiever Coaching begins on the 1st of February. If you join now, you'll be able to start with the energy audit that is available for you to watch immediately, and you can access 50 plus training sessions and energetic shifts to achieve your biggest goals across spirituality, achievement, which is your work and your career, earth energy, which is your mind and body practices and connection, and harmony, which is your relationships. It is the powerful group and hybrid private coaching experience for achievers who want to expand their vision of what's possible. You can imagine 12 months of support, of individualized guidance and community, retreats, energetic portals, and shifting into altered states of conscious living and consciousness again and again until your life is a vision board or a version of a vision board that you couldn't even imagine. So if you join now, you'll have early access before we begin on February 1st. And you can take the first step to actually get all of that energy you want in all the areas of your life to live into your potential as a unique individual. So sign up for Spiritual Achiever Coaching. Schedule a consultation at www.mayemson.com/contact, and we'll get you started so that you see results now. I just taught the energy audit and the systems work that is so fundamental to embodying the way you do life so that you can live more authentically, so you can live more sustainably, and making your own decisions from an integrated place and trusting yourself. So do not miss this opportunity. You will get your tank filled up to have the capacity to go after your biggest dreams. So another big announcement, if you haven't heard, I released a new free masterclass. So if you want access to this free masterclass, which is the art and science of manifestation, sign up at the links in the show notes to get access today. You can take an idea that you have, you can run it through the process during this masterclass. So I hope to see you there. All right, my friends, that's it for this week. Have an amazing one, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks so much for joining us this week on Own Your Best Life. Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, can you please rate and review on iTunes? I would so appreciate it. Share it with a friend, take a screenshot of it, and tag @MayEmson. This helps continue to get the word out. For more show notes and resources, check out www.mayemson.com. It'll have all the links to everything you heard here today. Thanks so much for listening. It's time to own your best life.